Sir.
Yes.
Sir, can you please start the recording? Thank you, sir.
Excuse me. I haven't called. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So now you're audible, sir.
Okay. Okay. Sorry for the disturbance. Okay. So in the last few lectures, we have been discussing about the first the prelims of the semiconductors. We try to see what are the semiconductors, and later we try to look at how the uh, energy band is formed in a semiconductor. In general, actually, this is valid for a crystal, but this is equally valid for semiconductor. Okay. Then we try to look at the transport phenomena in semiconductors. So we have seen that in semiconductors we may have two types of charge carriers. One is say electrons, and one oppositely equivalent charged particle. We may call it as a hole here. Okay. So the electron is having negative charge, the hole is having positive charge. We also have seen a little bit about and the kind of moment which we can see in electron and holes. Later we try to formulate the current due to the carriers. Okay, so this is going to be valid for any kind of charge carriers, whether it is electron or hole in general. Uh, but this discussion was purely based on the conductors, in which we assume that there was some n electrons in a specimen here having cross-sectional area A and length L. Okay, so we try to look at how we can calculate the current there. We also try to see the corresponding quantity called as current density into this. So current density was defined as current per current, okay, flowing through a per unit cross sectional area, and we also try to look at some related parameters like resistivity and something called as conductivity. Okay, so we also define from that equation these two terms, resistivity and conductivity as well. And the transport phenomena in semiconductor we can see is due to the magnetic field. Okay, so the previous phenomena, this was based on electric field. Okay, was dependent to the electric field, and this latter one is in the magnetic field. Okay, so for understanding this transport phenomena under magnetic field in a semiconductor, we assume here a semiconductor bar having some cross section area as shown over here.
हेलो सर.
Yes.
सर ये जो एवरेज स्पीड में L/T है सर, वो मतलब वो तो ये कौन सा टाइम होगा सर? ये इलेक्ट्रॉन के इस एंड से दूसरे एंड तक मूव करने का टाइम होगा, या फिर मतलब दो कोलिजन्स के बीच का टाइम जो हम
Actually,
लोग टाउ निकालते हैं?
we have already discussed in the last lecture. I think you were absent. Okay, so this was just a recap what we have done so far. If you are okay, so T actually is the time taken by the electron to go from one end to the another end of this specimen. Okay, so that is the T over here. We have already discussed in the previous lectures. Okay, so I think
Okay,
you
sir. Okay, sir.
absent. Okay. So today we intended to discuss about this drifting in magnetic field. Okay. So we have this specimen here, say, okay, and this specimen is carrying say current I here in this shown direction, positive X here. So this is the positive X direction. The upward is positive Y direction, and this is a positive Z direction here. And this specimen is carrying a current I. The current I may be composed of the electrons or holes. It is irrespective of the carrier, type of carrier, which is flowing through this specimen to form this current I. Okay, so suppose we put this specimen in a magnetic field in the positive Z direction, and the current is flowing in the positive X direction. So in this, the charge carriers, whatever the charge carriers are here, they are going to suffer or to see a kind of force in the negative Y direction. So the negative Y direction is downward here. So this negative Y direction. So carriers, either electrons are here, they are going to see the force in this direction. Okay, so due to this, what will happen? The electrons will come on one side, and because we see that overall the specimen being a neutral one, so equal and opposite charge will seem to appear on the other side here. So it will happen, it will seem that as if there is positive charges on one side and negative charge on one side because of this magnetic field here. So this particular phenomena, this is known as Hall effect. Actually, due to this, what we see that one face of this, okay, one side of this specimen is one can say have positive potential kind of thing. Okay, positive charge means positive potential maybe, and negative charge means negative potential. We know that the electric field is oriented from positive charge to the negative charge. So a kind of electric field will seem to appear as shown in this direction. Okay, in this from phase 2 to phase 1, and equivalent potential we can say potential difference will seem to appear. We call this potential difference as VH over here, and this potential is actually induced because of this phenomena, which we call as Hall effect here, and hence it is called the Hall voltage. Okay, so using this phenomena, actually, we can determine what type of semiconductor is actually made of this semiconductor, and we can also find the carrier concentrations. We can find actually the conductivity. We can calculate the mobility of the charge carriers. Okay, so there are many uses of this particular effect here. On the okay, so this discussion is actually valid for electrons here. Equally, if we assume that the charge carriers are the positive charge one, that is holes here, then this same phenomena is valid for that also. As we can see here, that suppose if this is say positive charge, then we will see that on this face side 1, the positive charges will be deflected here, and on the other side it will appear as if there is negative charge. Okay, so we see that the phase 1 is going to become positively charged as compared to the phase 2 here, and the electric field developed, okay, or induced, is going to the in the reverse direction, and so is the direction of the induced voltage VH. Okay, so in the previous case, when we have say negatively charged electrons, then the phase 2 becomes positive as compared to the phase 1, and when we are talking about the uh, p type, means the holes, positive charge carriers, then phase 1 becomes positive, positively charged as compared to the phase 2. Okay, so so these are the notions. By looking at the, suppose we apply some measurement apparatus here which can measure the strength of this potential as well as the polarity. Okay, we can see then that the uh, looking at the polarity of the potential VH, we can predict that the specimen is N type or P type. Okay, so that's what we can do. There are applications of this effect in magnetic field meter. We can find out, measure the magnetic field strength. We can also use this as Hall effect multiplier. Hall effect multiplier is the apparatus which can multiply two signals together. Okay, so the mathematics behind this we can is summarized in this slide over here. The electric force and the magnetic force in the equilibrium case are equal here, and from this we can write sorry, this uh, relation here, that E is equal to this much VQV upon Q, and the current density on the other hand we can write from the previous electric transport phenomena. From there, it is equal to rho v. V is the drift velocity, v is the drift velocity, and is equal to mu times E. That can also be written as current per unit area, cross sectional area. Okay, so current. Is there any questions? Okay, So current permanent area W. In the previous figure, you can see that
Hello,
W is
sir.
the width here and D is the thickness of this. So cross sectional area is WD. Yes.
सर ये जो सर हम कंसिडर करते हैं पॉजिटिव कैरियर और नेगेटिव कैरियर, तो सर मतलब वो बेसिकली तो इलेक्ट्रॉन का ही मूवमेंट हो रहा होता है और वहाँ पे पॉजिटिव जनरेट हो रहा होता है पीछे, तो मतलब ये दो तरह की आइडियोलॉजी मतलब क्यों बनाई गई सर, मतलब क्योंकि बेसिक
Okay.
रिजल्ट तो
I
सेम ही आ रहा
I
है।
got your question. Okay, we will look at this in a moment. Okay, we will look at that at a moment. So let us assume that there is either negative charge or positive charge. Okay, so let us just blindly assume that these are there. Okay, this could be there. So current I per unit area. Okay, so here, so this can be written like this, and this together can be written in this form here. Okay, these uh, two letter relations can be rewritten in this form here. These two relations can be written in this form here. The electric field strength can be computed by measuring the Hall voltage VH divided by the separation between the phase 1 and phase 2. So this VH can be written in this form. Okay, so these are the mathematical equivalents here. And in place of E, we substitute this expression, and in place of T, from here, if we put this, then ultimately we can rewrite this expression for the Hall voltage as V times I upon rho times W. So here in this expression, what we see that B is the strength of the magnetic field, I is the magnitude of the current, rho is the resistivity, and W is the width of the specimen. Okay, width of specimen, rho is the resistivity, and so actually we can measure the VH, we can measure the magnetic, we have the say known magnetic strength, known current flowing, width of the specimen is known to us. Then from here we can calculate this resistivity. So from resistivity we can calculate so-called Hall effect coefficient, defined as the inverse of the resistivity, and it can be given from the previous relation to be equal to this one. Okay, so if conductivity is due to primarily one charge type, then conductivity can be related to mobility as this equation sigma is equal to rho into mu, and conductivity can be calculated. If conductivity is measured with Hall coefficient, mobility can be determined, or if a mobility is known, then we can find out the conductivity. Okay, so these are the things which we can do using these mathematical relations. Okay, so so far we have just seen that we have something called as carrier drift in electric field, and we from here had so called as drift velocity of the carriers resulting, which results in a current, and this current is called as drift current. Okay, so this is a drift current. Yet another type of current is possible in the semiconductors. Okay, and what is that type of current? Let us look at here. If suppose we have a semiconductor piece which is having say charge concentration everywhere equal. So this is the homogeneous case, okay, or be called as uniform concentration. So in this uniform concentration, we can say let us take any fictitious say boundary at somewhere. So statistically speaking, if we look at this scenario, then what we can say that statistically there may be equal number of carriers crossing from one side to another and from the other side to another, this side also, because equal number of charge carriers are present on both sides. So if we try to look at in equilibrium condition, then we will see that the net carrier flow, okay, net carrier flow across this fictitious boundary is zero. Net carrier flow is zero. But let us say that we take another case in which say non-uniform concentration is say present somehow. That means on one side there is more number of carriers as compared to the other side, okay, and then we again take a fictitious boundary here and see the scenario, okay, look at the scenario. Then because at any moment we see that more carrier is present on one side, suppose on this side it is higher uh, carrier concentration, and on the other side say it is lower carrier concentration, okay. So on one side of this boundary, fictitious boundary, okay, this is not a physical boundary, this is fictitious boundary we are taking. So we can say that more number of carriers are going to pass from one side to another as compared to coming from the other side to this side. Let us designate these sides to be 1 and 2 for simplicity here. So say from 1 to side 2, more carriers are going to pass through as compared to the carriers coming from side 2 to 1. So we see that there is net carrier passing, okay, uh, across this boundary. So it is not equal to 0. Okay. So when we see this kind of thing to happen, this is due to something called as difference in concentration from one side to another side, okay. This is due to difference in concentration. We say this can be actually related to the case in which let us say take a thing, some kind of a scent. Is there any question? Please keep muted, okay? Please keep muted.
वो बेसिक हमारे लैब के नहीं थे बच्चे सर, इलेक्ट्रिकल के हम लोगों को भी टाइम टेबल नहीं।
Okay, so if there is any question, please ask, else keep muted. So suppose we have a case in which we leave open a scent bottle in the middle of a room, then we will see that after certain time this scent is going to be present everywhere in that room, okay. So that is due to the flow of that scent from its points of origin to other places, okay, because of something called as concentration gradient, okay. So difference in the concentration forces a kind of flow which is called as diffusion, okay. So this process is widely known as diffusion process. So we say that the similar kind of thing happens also here. If more number of or more concentration is present that of the carriers on one side as compared to other side, then a phenomena called as diffusion is going to prevail here, okay, and the carriers are flowing. So if the carriers start flowing, then this will result into a current, corresponding current. So let us say that corresponding current is there, which is going to be proportional to this, something called as difference in concentration. So how to find out this difference in concentration? So let us say that the concentration on side 1 is say N1, and say on side 2 it is N2. Okay. I just made it a function of x, assuming that this direction is x direction, and this uh, difference in concentration is present only in one direction. Actually, in general, it may be present in 3-dimensional. To just simplify our life, okay, we have just assumed that it is present in only one direction. So difference in concentration we can relate here like this. The difference N2, okay, minus N1 divided by, say we have taken say 0.2 at x2 and 0.1 at x1, so we can write it at x2 minus x1. So we can generally write here N2 x2 N2 N1 x1 maybe. Okay, for that, because N2 shows the concentration at say x2, or maybe we may leave it here, okay, as a function of x also we may write. So we can see that this denominator x2, okay, it is at a distance x2 is larger than x1, say, then this denominator is positive here, and n1 is less than n2, so this is negative. So this difference, okay, which we see here in general is a negative quantity. B generally represent this as dn by dx, okay, and dn by dx is the we can say it is as a concentration gradient kind of thing, okay. So we define something called as concentration gradient to be given by dn by dx, which is equal to this. So our current I is proportional to this dn by dx, and n is the concentration of the charge carrier, and each charge carrier is going to carry a current q, charge q. So the charge, if we relate this, then we have to multiply by q this thing here, and also the current is going to depend on the cross-sectional area through which these charge carriers are flowing here. So this is, if the cross-sectional area is A here, then this current is going to depend on this A also, okay, this cross-sectional area A here. And if we remove this sign of proportionality to equality here, then it is going to be equal to some, be replaced here by a new constant d here, daq dn by dx. So d constant is called as diffusion constant. Okay, so this is called as diffusion constant. We can from here write like this: I upon A, which is nothing but the current density, will be equal to dq dn by dx. Okay. So here actually we have ignored the sign over here in front of this. One can also include the sign. Sign means this to show the direction of the current flow over here. Okay, so let us say that here in this case, the carriers are flowing from higher concentration to the lower concentration side. So it is going from left to right here, positive x direction say. So current is going to be in the opposite direction, that is in the negative direction. Okay, so the actual current direction is going to be opposite to the direction of the flow of the negative charges. So if suppose we want to represent the current in the positive x direction, then we have to do actually say permutation combination here, just manipulation I mean. So dn by dx, okay, so dn by dx, we can see that it was a negative quantity. So this was a negative quantity, and in this okay, so what we mean here, that this is a negative quantity, and q, if we look at the charge, then for electrons this is a negative quantity. So we have two negative quantities multiplied together, so this after multiplication becomes positive. So if we want to represent the diffusion current or diffusion current density here, this current density, then we don't need to put a negative sign before this expression, because q is negative and dn by dx is negative, so both negative becomes positive. So this gives the uh, uh, current direction here. Whereas if we I have say positive, I think something is missing. Okay, anyway, we will take those things later. If we take positive charge here, then the q is positive here, so we have to put a negative sign, I think, in front of this to take care for the positive charges. Okay, so we can see that there is something called as a drift current density. From here we have given by nqb or nq mu e, whereas there is another current density which is equal corresponding to the diffusion of the charge carriers, that is proportional to the concentration gradient. So we have the diffusion current density also. So these two types of currents are possible in the semiconductors, and apart from this, we try to see the transport phenomena in semiconductors, okay, under the magnetic field. Now, after this, okay, there are some other small concepts which we will see where as we proceed in this okay course. So this is going to answer one question, I think, which has been asked about the electron and holes. So although we have seen in one previous lecture this what this figures is showing about, in the semiconductors, while classifying, we have seen that there is a formation of something called as conduction band, and there is valence band. And these are separated with this EG called as energy band gap. So this is energy band gap. So at 0 degree Kelvin, we can see this kind of scenario. We can see that in semiconductors at 0 degree Kelvin, all the electrons, as we can take a case, say silicon, So silicon was having 4 outermost orbit electrons. So all the electrons are actually bounded, forming the covalent bonds. So there we have seen that there was no electron which is present to participate for the conduction at 0 degree Kelvin. Why at 0 degree Kelvin? We so see this. There is something called as thermal energy given by KT. So KT is thermal energy which will be given at any temperature. So at 0 degree Kelvin, we can see this happens to be 0. So there is no thermal energy. One more thing we can see, the energy of the electron. Suppose energy of the electron is given by Q times B. Q is the say this charge of the electron, and B is the potential difference in which this electron is put at, so that we have the energy, corresponding energy of the electron to be Q times B. So if we try to look at the equivalence of electron energy to this thermal energy, then we can just equate these two quantities, and from here we get a term called as V, which is called as KT by Q. So this is a kind of equivalent voltage, we can say, which results in a equivalent electron energy corresponding to a temperature T. So this is generally called as thermal equivalent voltage. Okay, so temperature equivalent voltage or thermal equivalent voltage. T in degree Kelvin, K is the Boltzmann constant, and Q is the charge, unit charge. Okay. So as temperature is actually increased, this thermal energy increases, and these loosely bound electrons, okay, which may get sufficient energy and may break this covalent bond. If this covalent bond is broken, then the electrons are free to move, and they seem to appear as if in the conduction band. Okay, so this is just showing here that a few of the electrons has been coming, leaving behind their places here. Here, okay, something like this. Okay, so few of these lucky electrons, they absorb this energy, and they come into the conduction band. So this conduction band electrons are free to move, but in their previous location from where they come, they leave behind a vacant place, of which the tendency is to accept electrons. Okay, so these vacant places, they are actually trying to accept the electrons, and these vacant places are nothing but called as holes because of their tendency to accept the electrons. Okay, so in this process we see that one electron goes into the conduction band, and one hole is created in the valence band. So in this way, electron and hole, a kind of electron hole pair, okay, that is generated. So this is what we call as electron hole pair generation. Already we have discussed many times about this. Okay, just showing the energy band diagram of the valence and this insulator, then semiconductor and conductor. Only the thing to note over here is that we have a very big energy band gap in the insulator. We have very small energy band gap in the semiconductor, and in the conductor there is no clear-cut distinction between the conduction band and valence band. They overlap actually. So we know some of the materials which behave as this. Okay, so this will be just a repetition of the previous classes here, but I think that it will be able to answer the questions which was asked here. What is hole actually? So please listen carefully and see this animation also carefully. So right now here we can see here electrons. Okay, these are the electrons which are bounding. Okay, which are forming the covalent bond between two silicon atoms. This is the silicon crystal here, which is shown in 2D here. So this is each of these atoms which we see here, circles. Okay, these are nothing but the silicon atoms here. And suppose we now from somewhere give some excitation, some energy, even the thermal energy will work here. Then what may happen? The electron may get energy and come from the bonding state to the free state. So that which we have seen previously, that the electron is coming from the valence band to the conduction band. So this is what we mean is, okay, in this, the electron becomes free, and here at the place from where it has come, there becomes a deficiency of electrons. If it gets electron, then it will form the perfect covalent bond, but there is a deficiency of electron. That's why it has a positive like charge waiting to accept the electrons. Okay, and this is nothing but the hole. So in this process, what we have just seen, that electron hole pair has generated, and as many number of electron is generated, that many number of holes are generated, and the concentration of this electron hole is called as Ni, intrinsic carrier concentration. So this is what we have in extremely pure form of semiconductors. So in this form, what we see, that all these crystal atoms, they are silicon. They all are silicon here. No impurity is present. This is pure form.
Sir, sir,
Yes.
sir, it is called intrinsic semiconductor when hole and electron pair is there or only electrons are there?
Electron hole pair may be there, may not be there. Okay, so we don't have any impurity. There is no other kind of element present in the semiconductor. Then we call this as intrinsic, okay, or pure.
Okay, sir.
So electron hole pair may be there, may not be there. If it is kept at 0 degree Kelvin, then there will be no electron hole pair, because there will be no thermal energy. But if as we just saw that there was some kind of excitation or some energy came and imparted the energy to this bonding electron, and so was the electron generated, and hole also appeared its place. Now suppose from some nearby atom, okay, bonding electron, and that receives some energy from somewhere and liberated, then we will see again one electron hole pair to be generated. But suppose there is a case in which, say, electron from nearby here is generated and comes and occupies this place. So what we will see, that bonding is complete over here, and there will be a deficiency of the electron at this particular location. So we can see this kind of scenario, that the hole was present initially here. Now it will seem as if it has moved from one place to another place. So because the this hole was carrying a positive like characteristic with 8, so we say that this positive characteristic has moved from one place to another place. Okay, so this is how this vacancy or the positive charge or the hole, whatever we call here, that is moving from one place to another place. And also we can see that the electron actually moved from this side to this side here, and hole actually moved from in the just opposite direction. So also we can see that electron and hole, they move in the opposite direction, and that also gives one can say proof to the kind of charge held by the electron and hole. And this movement can happen, okay, further. Suppose from somewhere else some electrons comes and occupies this vacant location, then the bonding is complete here, and in this we can see that the electron which was freely coming from somewhere else disappear, as well as the hole which was present here earlier, that also disappear. So in this process, electron and hole both disappear together. So we can see that electron and hole, they appear and disappear together. The appearance of electron and hole, this is called as EH, electron hole pair generation. Okay, so the first one is called generation, and the latter is called when they disappear together, that is called as recombination. So these carriers can be generated together, can be recombined together like this. Okay, but in the process, what we see that the electron and hole carriers, they are essentially equal in the pure semiconductors, because electron holes generated together, electron holes disappear together. Suppose we take the impure semiconductor in which say we have say some kind of doping. So doping, what happened? I think I have some problem. Okay, so time is also almost over. Okay, so we shall stop here. I think my software crashed here. So we shall continue our discussion in the coming lectures. We will stop here. If you have any questions, be